Hey everyone, so basically I've been asked by a few people how I'm doing this mural that I'm working on. I wasn't intending to do a video on this, which is why my wall is already halfway done, but for the rest of it I can show a little bit of my process and how I'm doing this. Basically what I started off with was, this was the back of a sketchbook or sketch pad. It was a really large one, and it was a good size for the size diamond that I wanted. So I measured it out and cut it. If you can find something that's already like pre-cut in the right size, I would recommend going for that. There's a good chance that something pre-made is gonna be a lot straighter than any hand cutting. But this was the best I could come up with and use. I know that there are probably other, maybe even better ways to do this. I started off trying to line up strings and measure it out so I can just trace along the whole thing, but it didn't work out for me, and I'm not really good with math. So this is what I ended up using instead. I don't know. So yeah, basically what I do is I just put it as straight as I can on the wall. I did end up measuring in the corner where I started off with. This is roughly 5.5 inches to the middle. So I did the same on the bottom corner. From the corner I measured out 5.5 inches and then just lined this up with it and let that rest on the other side of the corner. And I traced from there. And after that I just lined it up as best I could next to that first one, and I just kept tracing and then tape off different diamonds, and I'll do like one color pattern for a few diamonds at a time, and then I move on to the next color pattern. I found that that's a little bit faster. There's probably a better way of going about this, but this is basically all I've come up with for this. So yeah, I'll do like the rest of the bottom half of the wall, maybe about halfway up, and I'll show you what it looks like as I'm doing it. Basically the process that I use. Yeah. So now that I'm ready to take things off, basically what I'm going to do is pick a color combination that I want to work on, and then I'm going to choose which areas are going to be that color, and I'm going to do that one color at a time. You definitely don't want to be putting tape on areas that are still wet, so make sure it's dry before you put it on. So right now what I'm going to do is this bright orange and yellow, and I'm going to put it in 3 spots. There's a tiny corner up there, this full-sized one, and then this half one down here. Alright, now what I end up using is a sponge, preferably with a handle. If you use one without a handle, I suggest wearing gloves, because holding on to any sponge of any size is going to do what sponges do and absorb that paint, and it's going to go right through and onto your fingers, and that can be a pain to clean, especially out from under the nails. So I would definitely recommend and say that I prefer a sponge with the handle. Now this is an old one that's actually about ready to be replaced, but they do come in packs. So this is the largest one I was able to find, but there are 2 more that I will be using really soon because this is already starting to fall apart. It lasts probably about 3 or 4 rows before I have to start replacing them. There is another one that looks like it might be more durable that I found at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to try this one out eventually, but for now I'm using the more disposable ones. I'm hoping that this one will last longer though. I'm just not ready to break it open just yet. I don't really have a specific brand that I prefer, especially when it comes to the walls. but these seem to work fairly well. You get them at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, or Michael's. The most common ones that I use is Apple Barrel and Folks Art. I do have some other brands like Anita's. It's all basically the same to me. It has the same effect, has the same coverage. It doesn't really seem to matter. But for that orange, I'm going to be using these two, which is yellow Apple Barrel and a bright orange Anita's acrylic paint. Now what I prefer to do is to start off with whichever seems to be the darkest shade, and I will basically just dab that color on. I try not to slide it because it loses that textured look and it will just pretty much smear. And plus I find that dabbing it helps it blend better too. But it's fairly simple, very easy, just very time consuming, especially when you want to make sure the entire area is covered. Yeah, I'll just pick random areas and kind of let the pattern itself form. You can use paper towels to do this, but it won't blend as well. It'll be more splotchy than blended together. Sorry, am I boring you? tape off, and then I'm going to pick another color, then pick a few more sections where I want that next color to be, and then tape those off. much what I'm doing up around the whole wall. I got maybe a quarter more of the way to go, maybe a little bit more, but I think when it's done, it's gonna look awesome. Well, I hope you liked this video, and if you want to see more, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Have a good night.